and Algeria.
All right, we're off mute. All right, Shalom. This is the ISUPK under Commanding General YAHANNA. Today's class is the Monday history class. For those of you that are new to class, we do have a school. The address is 394 Lodge Road, postcode B18 5PW. And from this school, we teach classes 4 times a week. So you got the Monday history class, Wednesday law class, Thursday scripture breakdown class, and the Saturday Sabbath service. So they're the classes that are held in the school. There are also two, actually, no. From now on, there's going to be a Tuesday brotherhood class being held here. So there's going to be classes here 5 times a week, all right? Then also on Friday, there's a language class live from Manchester in England, all right? So that's what we got going on. Check us out on YouTube, ISUPK United Kingdom. Check us out on Facebook also, ISUPK United Kingdom. So that's what we got going on right now. So in today's history class, we're gonna break down Rastafarianism, and we're gonna go into some deep history on its origins, of what other various cultures they got inspiration from, and the truth about Bob Marley. A lot of things people didn't tell you about Bob Marley. And we got a video of Haile Selassie himself saying he's not Christ in an interview done in England. All right, so we got all that. Getting Mausa. Hey, Shalama, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai Brakta.
Shalom, Yahweh Shemya Shai Barakatah.
Let's be correct against it. All right, so yeah, man. Yeah, cut off, yeah. Yeah, it's well. Yeah, so we're gonna get into that, you know what I mean, and show you that Rastafarianism is a lie and Haile Selassie is not Christ. But for today's history class, we're gonna show you various history and also this book called this book which Officer Dungabar brought out one time, and had to give it a read. It's called The First Rasta, written by Helen Lee, and it's gonna go into Bob Marley, where Rastafarianism got its inspiration from. And you know what I mean? So we're gonna get into this book as well. So the book is called The First Rasta, and it goes Leonard Howell and the Rise of Rastafarianism. So we're gonna be getting into that too. All right. Also, if you have any questions online, feel free to type them in. All right. Also as well. All right then. So with that being said, all right, let's get Ezekiel 34. So we open over Ezekiel 34. 1 second. All right, Ezekiel 34 and 6.
Want to know? Ladies, we don't pay more souls than one children. What to know on the full night? Baby, one to one. One to one. If we don't want souls, like up. Oh shit. You know, put the souls in them.
So we're gonna start in.
Ezekiel 34, verse 6.
Khan, yes, like it. Yeah, Ezekiel. I got it. Yeah, it's like him outside. There's a dance going on outside the school. So if you hear a DJ, it's not me, right? Just
Sorry about that, bro.
no, it's cool. It's cool. It'll
Ezekiel 34, verse 6. My sheep wander through all the mountains and upon every high hill. Yea, my flock was scattered upon all the faces of the earth, and none did search or seek for them.
All right. So now in the Bible, God's chosen people, the Israelites, we are referred to as sheep. And listen, like that analogy is not wrong. As a nation of people, we are sheep. Now, what happens with sheep? Sheep get led. Sheep are not leaders. Sheep follow. And what you're going to realize, what Leonard Howell came up with, many people followed and didn't even question it, man. Why all of a sudden does some king out of Ethiopia have to be Christ? Why? Because we are sheep, unfortunately. We are sheep and sheep follow, man. Sheep are very gullible animals. To kill a sheep or even a lamb, it's not hard work. And that's something we need to understand. So many of us think I'm a boss. You can't tell me what to do. Listen, blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians, we are sheep. Whether you like it or not, whether you want to accept it or not, that's just the truth, black man. We are sheep, man. Read on.
Verse 7. Therefore, ye shepherds heard the word of the Lord.
Read on.
Verse 8. As I live, saith the Lord, surely because my flocks became a prey, and my flocks became meat to every beast of the field.
All right.
Because there were no shepherd.
All right, there we go. So now remember, we're sheep. We're not being led. So what happened? We became a prey for every. Uh, we became a prey, and my flock became meat to every beast of the field. Meaning, because we're led by people that should not be leading us, we became a prey. And listen, you see that every day. Why do you think blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians we are so religious? Because we don't have the good shepherd who's leading us. And because we're lost and easily led, we become prey to all these religions, man. We fill up the Christian church, fill up the Catholic church, fill up the mosque, and guess what? Believe in a man called Rastafari, man. Why? Because we're sheep and no one righteous is leading us, including a man called Leonard Howell, man. Reader.
Okay. Because there was no shepherd, neither did my shepherd search for my flocks, but the shepherd fed themselves and fed not my flocks.
And there you go. And many leaders, they don't feed us, they feed themselves. If you go to church, that pastor is feeding himself. That pastor's looking after himself. When really, any man of God looks after the people. In the Bible, Christ told Peter, if ye love me, feed my flock. And he said it to him 3 times, showing emphasis that, listen, if you love me, feed them. While as in religion, they feed themselves, which is the opposite. Read on.
Around verse 9, therefore, O ye shepherd, hear the word of the Lord.
Okay,
Verse 10,
now
thus,
we can stop there. So the Lord is prophesying against them, meaning blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians being sheep. We are being led by the wrong shepherds, man. The wrong people are leading us, and you're gonna realize Rastafarianism is just another one, man, that we was misled by. So first, we're gonna get into some basic history on Rastafarianism for those that are new to it, just what they believe, what it's about, etc. All right, so I'm gonna screen share. So this is just from the Wikipedia. So just a basic understanding of what Rastafarianism is. If you could read it for me, Rastafari.
Rastafari, sometimes called Rastafarian, is a religion that developed in Jamaica during the 1930s. It is classified as both a new religious movement and a social movement by scholars. By, by scholars of religion, there is no central authority in control of the movement, as and much diversity exists among
Practitioner.
participants. Part,
Okay,
yeah,
I don't swear. So among people that practice it, there's no authority, meaning there's different sects or rastas. Some believe in the Bible, some don't believe in the Bible, some believe in parts of the Bible, some, dig into Indian religion, you know what I mean, as their Rastafarianism. There's no, authority on this. There's many sects of Rastafarians that believe so many different things. Read on.
Khan. The practitioners who are known as Rastafarian are Rastas. Rastafarian beliefs are based on a specific interpretation of the Bible. Bible. Central is a monotheistic belief in a single God, referred to as Jah, who
Okay, so let's break it down. So, okay, in majority of sects of Rastas, they're monotheistic. Mono means one, so meaning they believe in one God, who they refer to as Jah. So you won't find a Rasta that believes in three gods or four. You know, majority of Rastas you see, they believe in one God. I mean, if you're monotheistic, it's Greek. The word mono means one. So they believe in one God. Read on.
Okay, Jah, who is deemed partially reside within each individual. Rasta accord key importance to Haile Selassie, the Emperor of Ethiopia between 1930 and 1974. Many regard him as the second coming of Jesus and Jah incarnation.
Okay, so basically, this is the point that you need. That many of them, they look at Selassie as the second coming of Christ. Now we're gonna show you, you know what I mean, in a video that Selassie said it himself. He's not Christ. There is an interview, and Rastafarianism in the 60s, it was getting out there, and they ask him in the interview, people think you're Christ, and he's like, I'm not Christ, which will show you. So one of the key figures of Rastafarianism is that Haile Selassie, they think he's the second coming of Christ and Jah incarnate, or he's God in the flesh, man. You know what I mean? So some sects of Rastafarianism, they believe that. Read on.
Can work on incarnate, while others see him as human prophet, who fully recognize that Jah represent in every individual. Rastafari is Afrocentric and focus attention on the African diaspora, which is
Okay. So we'll stop there. So now, originally, I'm saying this, originally, Rastafarianism was for just people of what they call the African diaspora, meaning Rastafarianism was only for black people. Now, I'm sure so many of you know the Rastafarianism of today has the Japanese. You know what I mean? You go to certain parts of Jamaica, you're going to see a Japanese Rastaman, a Chinese Rastaman, some white man with dreads, and they accept him. That is not original Rastafarianism. And in the UK too, you're going to see English Rastas, man. When that was not the intention of it. It was for people of the African diaspora, aka the transatlantic slave trade, man. It wasn't meant for everyone, but the Rastafarianism you see today includes everyone. It's inclusive when that was not the case. Rastafarianism was only exclusive for a certain race of people. 1 second. It dropped up. Right, we got Dungabar in the building. Rakal. All right, so what we'll do first, we'll show you this video just to show you, right? So on this video, you are gonna see Selassie shocked that people think he's Christ, like, huh? So let's get that. All right. Wait 1 second. All right, so now this is a reporter from Canada who was interviewing Selassie in the 1960s. And let's see what Selassie said, man. All right, most high Christ. All right, then. So we're gonna play it now, yeah. So as you can see, CBC reporter Bill McNeil, aboard the Royal Train Canada, 1967. So let's play it.
Throughout the world, your imperial majesties will regard you as the reincarnation of Jesus Christ. I had heard of that idea. I also met certain Rastafarians. I told them clearly that I am a man, that I am mortal, and that I will be replaced by the oncoming generation, and that they should never make a mistake in assuming or pretending that the human being is emanated from a deity.
So listen, he heard about, people saying he's Christ, and he's saying he met Rastafarians and he told them, listen, I'm just a man. I'm not a deity. We can play it again. We can play it again if someone thinks, we're misinterpreting his words.
Millions of Christians throughout the world, your imperial majesties will regard you as the reincarnation of Jesus Christ. I had heard of that idea. I also met certain Rastafarians. I told them clearly that I am a man, that I am mortal, and that I will be replaced by the oncoming generation, and that they should never make a mistake in assuming or pretending that the human being is emanated from a deity.
Listen, like, what more can we do for you, man? He's telling you, listen, like, there's nothing more I can do for you. He's telling you, listen, I'm not Christ. He met Rastas and told them, listen, I'm just a man. I don't know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? I'm not second coming to Christ. I'm just a man. Don't be assuming these things. Listen, man. Selassie himself, SHALAM, YAHANNA. Or your mic's on mute, socket.
Salakia Sesh. Shalom. Yahweh Bashimer, Yahweh Shai Barakatah.
All right, most sign correct. All right, man. All right, man. So now we play that video, and Selassie is telling you, I'm not Christ. So Rastas dropped the ball, man. You believe in a man that is the second coming of Christ, and even he's telling you, nah, I'm just a man. I've heard about it. And guess what? He met Rastas, and he was shocked to believe that they thought it was Christ. He's like, listen, I'm just a man. I ain't no deity. What more can we do for you? Now, of course, in the perfect world, the video was summing it all up, but that's not enough for everyone. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna show you in the Bible as well that Selassie is not Christ. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go to a Rastafarian website, yeah, and all the scriptures they use to say that Selassie is God and Ethiopia is the promised land, we're gonna break them down. So every scripture they use, we're gonna show you the truth of it is people that just don't understand it. All right. So, a second. Then 1 second. All right, so you can grab this. One second. I'm gonna have to send this to myself. Then 1 second. Okay, so now this is from a Rastafarian website called RE Online. So we're gonna go into scriptures that they believe are there that promote Rastafarianism. All right, so scriptures Young man, is that readable from your end?
Can't, sir. Could be zoomed in a little bit more.
Yep. Got it. Is that readable now for you?
Can't what I'm can't.
All right.
So the scriptures it reads the Bible in the form of the King James Bible is a holy book for Rastafari, but not all of the contents are acceptable.
All right. So let's break down that part first. So you do find sects of rastas out there, and they're tired that they read the King James Bible. Even they know that is the best translation, but not all of the contents are acceptable. Meaning they don't accept the whole Bible. They pick, parts about Ethiopia, black, but anything outside of that, they don't want to mess with. Why? Because Selassie is not in the Bible, man. You know what I mean? Selassie being a second coming is not there. Hence why they got to pick and choose of the contents in the Bible. Read on.
They believe that the Bible, as well as Salakia, they believe that the Bible, as it was originally written, gave the early history of the black race, their identity and destiny as the chosen people of Jah. They
Okay, so
believe
so you mean they believe that the Bible now of course they say originally like now it's not anymore. But you know what I mean to understand that, the Bible is a book that's not for the white man. They had that understanding. Read on.
they believe it was originally written in Amharic, the language of Ethiopia, and corrupted by later translations to support the philosophy of the European slave masters.
Uh-huh.
Part of Rastafari practice is therefore decoding the Bible, learning how to decrypt it as a book of symbols and debate it in their meetings. They focus in particular on the Old Testament, Psalms 83, 87, verse 3 to 4, is read as proof that the Messiah will be born in Ethiopia.
Okay, so we'll stop right there. So now they're getting into what Bible verses they use. So from decoding it, as they said, what I mean, from decoding it and breaking it down, what I mean. So they pull out Psalms 87. So let's get that. Let's get Psalms 87, 3 and 4, and let's see if it says the Messiah would be born in Ethiopia. Let you know what I mean. Let's see if that's what it says, man.
Another one comes Psalms 87, verse 3. Glorious things are spoken of thee, O city of God, Selah. I will make mention of Rahab and Babylon to them that know me. Behold, Philistia and Tyre with Ethiopia, this man was born there.
Okay, so you know, of face value, it sounds good, isn't it? It sounds like Ethiopia. This man was born there, but what there is he talking about? Here's the problem: if you isolate verse 3 and 4, it sounds like that. It sounds like Ethiopia. This man was born there, but this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna start from verse 1. So if you could start from verse 1.
Another one comes Psalms 87, verse 1. A psalms or song for the sons of Korah. His foundation is in the holy mountains. The Lord loveth the gates of Zion more than the dwellings of Jacob.
The Lord loves where?
The gates of Zion more than the dwellings of Jacob.
So now this is the context of it. The Lord loves Zion more than the dwellings of Jacob. Where's Zion? Jerusalem, man. So the Lord loves that city, Jerusalem, more than the other dwellings that we have in our land. So the Lord loves Jerusalem more than the land of Benjamin, more than the land of Naphtali, Reuben. The Lord loves that place more than all the dwellings we have. That is the context or the fundamental part of the Psalms. There's a place the Lord loves, which is Zion, more than anywhere else. Read on.
Verse 3. Glorious things are spoken of thee, O city of God.
So
Selah.
hang on. So now with Zion, it's called the city of God. So we're talking about Jerusalem, which is known as the city of God. Read verse 3.
Verse 3 again, sir.
Or sorry, verse 4. About.
4. Canada one can. I will make mention of Rahab and Babylon to them that know me. Behold, Philistia and Tyre with Ethiopia. This man was born there.
So now, what there is he referring to?
Answer must be the city of God, Jerusalem.
Both of you are right. Give that a hand, man. That's the there. It's not Ethiopia. Anyone that could read go, you're talking about Zion. I'm going to make mention that this man was born there. Where? In Jerusalem, Zion, the city of God. It's not Ethiopia. You can't, that is reaching, man. The there is Zion. The there is in Ethiopia. It's saying, I'm gonna make mention to them places, meaning what? The Israelites that are scattered in them places that what? Jesus Christ is born there. Why? Because Israelites lived in Ethiopia, Israelites lived in Babylon. So meaning all the Israelites that live in them places, I'm letting you know the Messiah is born there. If you get what I'm saying. He's not born in Ethiopia. And that's where Rastas got it wrong, man. The isolated verse 3 and 4, Ethiopia, this man was born there. When he's not talking about there. Verse 2 is talking about Zion. Verse 3 talking about the city of God, that man was born there, if you understand. I don't want to lose nobody. Everyone Twabo have a last year.
Canada one can, sir.
All right, it's making sure. This is all right. So that verse, the there is in Ethiopia, the there is the city of God. You know what I mean? It's Zion that what? With Yahweh or as the world calls Christ, he'll be born in Zion, which is Jerusalem. That's what it's talking about. So we showed you that in their interpretation of Psalms 87, they've got that wrong. It's not saying Christ would be born in Ethiopia. It's saying Christ will be born in Jerusalem. It's going to come from there, which is the point. So we're going to go to another verse that, a Rasta would use. All right, scroll down. All right, so we read this part. So as highlight this. So of course that's a lie. We showed you that he's not born in Ethiopia. So let's get the other one, Daniel 2 and etc. So I can put it on big screen. All right, Mosaf, can you read it for me? Daniel 2 and 31.
Hold on. Okay. The book of Daniel 2, verse 31 to 42 is read as meaning that the black people are destined to rule the world.
Okay,
Psalm,
so so okay, that's right. In Daniel 2, it says the saints shall, take the kingdom, possess the kingdom, the right. But the Israelites, though, yes, that the Israelites are going to rule the world. You are absolutely right, man. Read on. Oh, I think it froze.
buffering.
Or buffering. Okay,
It's
ain't no
back.
sweat.
It's back now.
Yeah, stop. Yeah, yeah.
Psalm 68 was central to the Garvey movement and is also one of the most frequently quoted in the Rastafarian movement. The
All
book,
right, ain't no sweat. So, you know what I mean? What we're gonna do? We're gonna go to Psalms 68, and we're gonna find out. Listen, like, you know what I mean? Is Psalm 68 talking about Rastafari? So let's drop back to Psalms 68. Okay, Psalms 68 and 4.
other one can. Sing unto God, sing praise to his name. Exalt him that rideth upon the heavens by his name, Jah, and rejoice before him.
Okay, so this is, Psalms that Rastas, you know what I mean, use. And let's see why they use it. Read verse 5.
Verse 5. A father of the fatherless, a judge of the widow, is God, and his holy habitation.
All right, so what did they say about Selassie? In Ethiopia, he helped his people, he loved them. But here's the problem: Selassie loved them and not you, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, he was a father to the fatherless for his people. You know what I mean? Selassie loved Ethiopians and done nothing for us. And it's sad that we would read that and say he's doing that when he's not doing it for you, man. Yes, he was the father to the fatherless for his people, man. Selassie loved Ethiopians, put his life on the line for his country and his people. But it wasn't for you, black man. It wasn't for us. All of that was for the love of his people, man. Read on.
Verse 6. God setteth the solitary in families. He bring out those which are bound with chains, but the rebellious dwell in a dry land. Verse 7. O God, when thou wentest forth before thy people, when thou didst march through the wilderness, Selah. Verse
Okay,
8.
then. So we can stop there, but that's what they like to use. And listen, it's sad that you would read that and he didn't do that for you, though. Yeah, yeah, listen, he did that for his people. Why? Because he's an Ethiopian just like them, man. And it's sad that you would worship this man, read that Psalms, and he never did that for you. And that shows that we are sheep, that we are misled as a race of people, man. All right, let's get some more. All right. So it brought down Psalm 68, starting from the book of Revelation.
The book of Revelation is a central text, in particular, the prophecy about the emperor whose title Lion of Tribe of Judah. Revelation 5 verse 2 to 5. And King of Kings, Revelation 19 verse 16. Mero El Selassie is title, reference, of Jesus in the Bible are read as reference to Haile Selassie, the book Messiah, the black.
Okay. Ain't no sweat. So we'll read that so a young man can get me Revelations 5 and 2. And
Canada.
let's see if we can find Selassie in there, man. Let's get Revelation.
Revelation chapter 5, verse 2. And I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, who is worthy to open the book and loose the seals thereof?
Uh-huh.
Verse 3. And no man in heaven nor in earth, neither under the earth, was able to open the book, neither to look thereon. Verse 4. And I wept much, because no man was found worthy to open the book and open and read the book, neither to look thereon. Verse 5. And one of the elders said unto me, weep not. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, has prevailed to open the book and to loose the seven seals thereof.
All right. So in particular, verse 5 is the key point, meaning the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David. Now here's the problem. Selassie is not the Lion of Judah, man. Selassie is not Christ. He's an Ethiopian. You can't be an Ethiopian and an Israelite. And it's sad that, all throughout the Bible is a book of nationality. Many times the Israelites fought the Hittites. There was Amorites. The Bible is a very nationalistic book. It talks about nations because it's key. So you can't be Ethiopian. You can't be a Cushite, which is the biblical name for Ethiopians, and be an Israelite. So which one is he? Is he Ethiopian or is he an Israelite? Now, everyone knows Selassie was an Ethiopian, so it can't be the root of David. It can't be the Lion of the tribe of Judah. So to even pull this verse, it doesn't fit him because he's not an Israelite. To run to that verse doesn't make sense. He's not of the root of David, man. And we're gonna get into the Kebra and Nagast as well, man, which claim that he's of he's from King Solomon's ancestry. We got you covered, man. We're gonna get into that too. Let's get the other one, Revelations 19 and 16.
Canada one counter. Revelation chapter 19, verse 16. And he had on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords.
Okay, so now here's another problem with this. When Selassie was on the earth, he wasn't King of Kings and Lord of Lords. There was other kings in other empires. He didn't rule over them. You know what I mean? Okay, do you know what King of Kings means? Meaning there's a king and you're a king of him. There's a Lord and you are the Lord of him. Selassie didn't rule over nobody but Ethiopia. How could he be King of Kings, Lord of Lords, when he didn't rule over no one but Ethiopia? Osaki Mawasa, you had something?
Um, you know that these people who eat fresh food and beat drum and make a lot of noise, yeah?
Uh-huh.
How could it be if Selassie was King of Kings, he has to run left his throne? Christ would never run left his throne.
There you go. You mean what you said there was heavy, you know what I mean? Before I, put the class in, before I done the class, I went over my notes and history and all that. And it shocks me that why would someone think that? He was just a king of Ethiopia, just like you had the Queen of England. Like, it's just that's it. There was nothing amazing about him. You know what I mean? He had to beg England to help him against Italy, man. In 1936, he begged the Queen, listen, like, I need your help, man. Italy was giving him help. You know what I mean? If he's the king of kings, lords of lords, listen, man, you would tell a Mussolini, listen, man, you ain't doing nothing. I remember you're the king of kings. He would have to listen to you. Let's go. Listen, you know what? Yeah, man. You know what I mean? My king told me to back down, but you had no power. Why? Because he's not the king of kings or the lord of lords, man. As what you mentioned, Mausa, he left his people and went on the run and was living in England. That's why even to this day, some of his family, they live in London till this day. He's got grandkids in London today, and even they're shocked. When you talk about, there's rastas that think he's Christ, his family's shocked. Like, I don't know what what they're on about. They don't have a clue. Why? Because they just know him as a man. Go ahead, Carol.
Yeah, in America, you have a daughter in America, a granddaughter in America, who Bob Marley had rescued in America, and she was like, people be praising her granddad like if he's this big, this, but he's not.
Okay, I'll set in the mic. If you didn't hear it on the mic, what Trooper Carol once said is Haile Selassie has a granddaughter in America who Bob Marley rescued. And, she was shocked to find out that people look up to her granddad like some Christ God figure. And she's like, he's not Christ, he's not God. You know what I mean? He said it in an interview. His family says it that I don't really understand why anyone would even do this. You know what I mean? All right, so we read those. Get some more. 1 second. All right, so what we're gonna do? We're gonna get into the Kebra and the gas now. Now, do any of you know what? Do any of you know about that book or anything? Or
No, I've heard of it, the Cabernagas, but I haven't got into it. So. Because it had nothing to do with the Bible, I just don't go too close to it.
I got you. Most on Christ. Well, listen, we're not going to read it. You know what I mean? We're not going to do that. Okay, the Kebra Nagas is an Ethiopian book. Nagas in Amharic means kings. So it's an Ethiopian book. And basically, in that book, it says, King Solomon had an affair with some Ethiopian woman and, Menelik and all that. But listen, even scholars of the book know the book is fake. It's about myth on Ethiopian history. So we're going to show you that too. So we're going to show you that even scholars know that, listen, like, the book is not legit. Don't take it serious like how Rastas have. It's not that deep. So let me get that for you. And there's also big issues with this book as well. So let me. All right. So this is some history on the Kebra Nagast. Anyone want? Anyone can read it. I guess if you can see it, Salakia.
Okay. Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia, the Cabernagas, Var Cabra Nagas, Geek Cabra Nagas. The glory of the king is the 14th century. National epic from the Ethiopian written in Geek by the Nebru.
Okay. Now, we got a problem here. So this book is meant to talk about ancient history. It's a 14th century writing, meaning this book came about in the 1300s. And imagine this: you got King Solomon in a book that was only written in the 1300s, talking about Solomon had an affair with this Ethiopian woman and this and that. This book is a 13th century writing, meaning this book was made in the 1300s, talking about ancient history. I thought ancient history is written in ancient history. You know what I mean? How does something come so many years later and then become the or authority on what happened in the past. Read on.
Sorry. Written in the Greek by the Nebru, like Ishak of Axiom by the office of Abuna Haba.
Honestly, don't even worry about the name.
And
Listen,
the commandments of the government of Entera. Somebody can't pronounce it.
ain't no sweat. Listen, the names don't even matter.
The text in this bring it back down, down. Okay, all right, leave it. The text in its existing form is at least 700 years old, and although clearly legendary, is considered by many Ethiopian Christians to be a historical reliable work. It
Okay,
is considered to hold. Sorry.
ain't no sweat. So I'll break it down. So among Ethiopian Christians, they think it's reliable work. Not everyone. So if you meet those Ethiopian Orthodox Christians, you mentioned the Kebra and the gas. To them, it's deemed as reliable work, and we're gonna find out why they would call it reliable work. Reader.
It is considered to hold the genealogy of the Solomonic dynasty, which follows the Ethiopian Orthodox Church.
So of course they would believe in that book because basically it makes them think that among their people they got someone with a genealogy to the Solomonic dynasty, man. Of course they would call it reliable work because it benefits them. It makes Ethiopians feel like they're somebody. Of course, anything that any book you pick up and it represents you in a good light, that's the book you're gonna back. Read on.
Good one, Khan. The text contains an account of the Queen of Sheba, Makeda of Ethiopia, met King Solomon, and about how the Ark of the Covenant came to Ethiopia with their son Menelik. Menelik also discussed the conversation of Ethiopian from the worship of the sun, moon, and star to that of the Lord God of Israel. As the Ethiopianist Edward Wolandorf explained in the 1967 Swiss Swiss
Shuwait
Swiss
lecture.
Swiss lecture, the Cabra Nagas is not merely a literary book, but it is the repository of Ethiopian national and religious feelings.
So there you go. So listen, these people in the 60s, Edward Ulandorf in Shuwait's lectures, sorry, Ethiopianist. So this is the Ethiopian man himself, Edward Ulandorf. You know what I mean? Even he's telling you this whole Kebra and Nagas thing is not merely a literary work. So meaning what you're reading it's not literal. So all this Queen of Sheba, King Solomon, Menelik, it's not literal, but it explains, but is repository of Ethiopian national and religious feelings, meaning it's a fairy tale. The Kebra Nagas is how Ethiopians feel about their history, what they think about their history. You know what I mean? Um, Now let's find out some more about it. Read on.
It has been described as an Abyssinian politics, religious,
Epic.
epic, and medieval era mythology.
Oh, so because there, this is what historians describe the Kebra and Nagast as a Abyssinian political religious epic, meaning people use the book for politics. So meaning if you're an Ethiopian king, you want to sit on the throne, you will use the Kebra gas and go, listen, you mean my greatest granddad's King Solomon? I should sit on the throne, not you. Meaning it was used for political reasons, and they had no evidence of this. But when politics came into play, people used it for their agenda. And medieval era mythology. So listen, the Kebra and the Gas, people even call it mythology. This book where King Solomon slept with this Ethiopian woman and had a son, it's mythology. The Kebra and the Gas is not literal. It's not historical. Read on.
Nadia Nur Hussein wrote that the Nagas gave textual authority to a then newly articulated mythology of Abyssinia long imperial history.
Okay, so I'll break it down. So meaning among the Abyssinians of Ethiopia, it was said that there was no evidence, and then the Kebra and the Gas gave him textual authority. Listen, we got a book saying, King Solomon did this and that, but there was never no proof of it. It was a myth that was said around them. Read on.
Legitimizing a Solomonic dynasty that claims to reach back 3,000 years earlier to the union of King Solomon and the supposedly Ethiopian Queen of Sheba.
So when you say believe in God, if you mean Jesus, I'm not a religious person.
It enabled, I can't see the rest of it, bring it up again.
No.
It enabled the overthrow of the Zawi dynasty.
So imagine that, just like what the author said, it was used for political views. And listen, the Kebra and the Gas helped them overthrow the Zagwe dynasty. It was politics. The book isn't literal. The book was produced because there was an agenda, and at that time, they was having a political war, and the book helped them. But the book is not literal. Or that King Solomon slept with Queen Sheba of Ethiopia and they had a son. You know what I mean? None of that is literal. It was all Ethiopian mythology. And the book came later so that they could politically overthrow another dynasty. What more can I do for you? Hold on, what's going on? Okay, and also, so yeah, so basically, the Kebra and the Gas is not a legit form of information. It's got Ethiopian mythology. None of it's true. You know what I mean? So what we're gonna do next? 1 second. Let's get my notes out. All right. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna get into this book, man, called The First Rasta. You know what I mean? Officer Dongobar put us on this, and you know what I mean. Listen, this book is heavy, man. You're gonna understand a lot of the origins of Rastafarianism. It doesn't even come from Ethiopia. It comes from India, and that really a lot of Rastas were influenced by Indians. So we're gonna show you that also as well. There you go. Like what Trooper Carawan said, Selassie wasn't even a Rasta man. So what are we doing, man? All right, so we're gonna start at page 98. All right, so this is page 98 of The First Rasta. The choice of an Indian identity is significant. So this book goes into the origins of Rastafarianism. And what they found out is a lot of Rastafarians' culture can be traced back to an Indian identity. Let's read on. The Indian connection has been most neglected of all the Rasta influences until it was documented in the 1980s by Laxmi and Aji Mansingh. So listen, two Indians in the 80s showed people that, listen, Rasta's influences are actually Indian in its origin. Let's find out. Of the University of West Indies. So you mean these two Indians from the University of West Indies are going to show you that Rasta's influences are actually Indian in its origin. Their historic work on Indian immigration in Jamaica, Home Away from Home, critically and convincingly restores important aspects of Rastafarian culture that later Afrocentric visions devalued or ignored. So it's telling you now Rastas devalue and ignore it, but originally it was Indian. Let's get some. All right. Relations between Akulis and Jamaicans never became antagonistic, and the limited number of women among the Indians expedited a quick absorption into black population. So meaning when the Indians came to Jamaica, many Benjamins took Indian women for their wives. We did it quick. There wasn't no war between the blacks and the Indians. When the first come, they absorbed. There wasn't any issues at first. Um, as a child in Clarendon, Howell had contacts with this community. So Leonard Howell, who is the founder of Rastafarianism, he had contacts with the Indian community. So it wasn't reaching, it wasn't something far from him that he didn't know about. East Indian culture was always around this man. It is possible he, like many Jamaicans, copied their habit of smoking marijuana. Ganja is a Hindi Urdu word for cannabis sativa. So even ganja, when a Rasta man says it's smoking ganja, ganja is Indian. The word is a Hindu Urdu word. And in Hindu Urdu, it's the translation is cannabis. So even Rasta smoking ganja was its origins are from India. It's got nothing to even do with Ethiopia, man. And is generally accepted that successive waves of Indian immigrants introduced marijuana use to the island. So meaning the Indians taught us the use of ganja. Meaning what? If no Indians came to Jamaica, we wouldn't know what ganja even was, man. But when Indians came, they brought ganja, and that's how we know it now. So meaning if no Indians came, we wouldn't know about ganja. We showed you how heavily influenced Rastafarianism is of Indian culture. Howell probably drank their sacred bang. So even the bang, the chalice, that's Indian. It's not, you know what I mean, Ethiopian. It's not black. That is Indian, man. You like the chalice. Listen, man, that comes from India. Yeah, man. All right. The refreshing ganja exceller. Above all, he was probably most impressed by the power of Hindu culture and by the strength they drew from daily contacts with their gods. So now this is the spiritual part. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna first show you a video, then I'm gonna get back to this book, right? So I'm gonna show you something. Bear me 1 second. One second. There's a long one. There's a short one. So I'm gonna get the short one. One second. Bear me 1 second. I believe it's this one. No, it's not it. All right, I got it. Okay, I got it. So now this comes from the mouth of a Rasta himself, and it's telling you that a lot of Rastas are highly ignorant of this, but really Hindu culture influences Rastafarianism. So let's do this.
Internship program, which was a serving or working in the sugar plantations for the minimum of 7 years. East Indians were allowed to practice their way of life or religion such as Hinduism and Islam. Indians who brought Hindu traditions. The sadhu, older men, were dreadlocks, and this was a great influence on early Rastafari.
So did you hear what he said? In Indian religion, they have people called Adus, which in their religion is like a high priest. They wore locks. So in the islands, when the Indians would do their religion with the high priest, I'm just saying that they wore locks, and saying those Adus, they heavily influenced Rastafarianism to where they got the locks. And as you can see, listen, there's a East Indian right there. He's got a little small bong, the ganja, locks.
Hindus were vegetarians. They smoked ganja. The use of ganja was brought to Jamaica by the East Indians for medicine.
And also, Hindus were vegetarians. Hindus have the same diets as Rastas. Have you ever noticed that? Rastas and Hindus have the same diet. Why? Because they stole it from the Hindus, man.
And spiritual purposes. In early days, ganja was called Kaliwi by Rastafari. Hinduism is a way of life, similarly to the levity of Rastafari, a way of life. In the early days, many people were not comfortable with Christianity. It is considered the religion of the slave master. Hindu influence first entered revivalist culture, and they accepted Kalipunja, the Hindu goddess. In the 1920s, Indians started about 1910. They moved to Kingston and settled along the Spanish Town Road. The area was known as Hindu Town until the mid 1960s. Leonard Howell interaction with Hindu, particularly their leader, Dankuk Dari Moraj. The difference between Howell and Joseph Nathaniel Hibbert was that Hibbert was a Garveyite and therefore a Christian. Howell was not a Christian. He was leaning towards Hinduism. When Hibbert heard of Hindus,
And look, with Leonard Howell, who is known as the founder of Rastafarianism, he was a good friend with the Hindu leader at the time. And of course, he didn't accept a Christianity. So his influence came from the Hindus, man. Leonard Howell Listen, what you see in Rastafarianism is just Hinduism. It's just what you would call black Hinduism with some so-called Ethiopian emperor as the face of it. Play some
He
more.
started to read up about them. He also started discussion about the Hindu gods Rama, Krishna, and Buddha. Now, Ebert was convinced that the white man had their own God in Jesus. The Indians have their own God in Rama, Krishna, and Buddha. The Africans must have their own God somewhere. He was determined to know about him and find him. When the 1930 coronation of Emperor Haile Selassie of Ethiopia was published in the newspaper, with all titles given to him in the presence of world leaders, with all that knowledge, Leonard Howell was the first one to declare the divinity of Emperor Haile Selassie as his African God. After this declaration of the divinity of Emperor Haile Selassie, Ebert incorporated the Hindu codes into Rastafari.
And you see it
The
there.
supreme
So we can start right there. So, of course, he was looking for a god for black people. And at that time, Selassie, you know what I mean, got on the throne. He's like, that is our God. And then with his Hindu Indian influence, he put Jah, Rastafari. So all he did, he just mixed it. It's not a deep story, man. He just mixed it. You know what I mean? So it's got African influence as Selassie, but majority of its culture is just Indian. The ganja, you know what I mean? The drums, the chanting, but and the dreadlocks, you know what I mean? Thawada. You know what I mean? It's not black like how people think it is. People think, ganja's black, locks are black. No, it's not, man. All of that was a man that was just inspired by Indians. And even that's a slave mentality. You follow Indians. Why? Because you think they're better than you. You teach people don't follow a Christianity. That's the white man's God. But then you follow Indians. So you're not bringing nothing great as well. You can't tell people don't follow these people, but follow these people. Then what's the point? Go ahead.
That's what we come as the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
That's right, man. Like what Trooper Carr once said, that's what makes us the lost sheep of the house of Israel. We're sheep. We're sheep, man. We are sheep. We get led. So what I'm telling you, listen, Christianity is the white man's God. Follow the Indians. Like, huh? Like, you know what I mean? And that's because we are sheep. You know what I mean? All right, but let's get some more. So this is in the book, The First Rasta, page 99. It is likely that Howell, the secretive child, the treetop observer, knew something about Kali Apujas. As a sailor, he met many Indian fellow workers. He later had a children by an Indian woman and was an admirer of Mahatma Gandhi. So meaning the founder of Rastafarianism, he was heavily just into Indian culture, man. Had a child with an Indian woman, was a was an admirer of Mahatma Gandhi, man. Gandhi. Does anyone know about Gandhi and what he thought about black people?
Can. He said
Uh,
black people are always looking dirty and something like that. And then he was the one. He was a solicitor that signed up the paperwork for the apartheid system. And they said as long as they treat the Indians better than the black people, then he will help to initiate the apartheid system in South Africa.
give that hand. That's what Gandhi did. Listen, this man that Leonard Howell admires, Gandhi would never sit with Leonard Howard, man. Gandhi would never admire you, Leonard Howard. And you're right. In the South Africa, Gandhi didn't help Africans. I mean, Gandhi helped Indians. He didn't care about no one else but his people. He didn't care what England did to Africans. Now, of course, we're not Africans, of course, but he cared about the Indians that lived in South Africa. You know what I mean? You do have Indians that live in South Africa. You got some that live in what's the island? There's an island, Madagascar. What was that?
That's exactly what I was gonna say, sir.
Yeah,
Madagascar.
you got Indians that live on Madagascar, Mauritius, if I'm correct. You know what I mean? But yeah, you got a lot of Indians that live in South Africa and the islands off South Africa. And Gandhi cared about them. He didn't care about no one else and said, black people are dirty, they're lazy. So while Leonard Howard was admiring Gandhi, Gandhi would never admire you, man. Gandhi thought cheaper you. Also, Ira, you're right, man. Salakia, can you also talk about thug? Okay, I'll go over that. So in India, there was a gang of thieves called thugs or thuggies, and they had gold teeth in their mouth. Like they look like a rapper of like this day and age. Funny enough, and they worship the Indian god of war. And how they kill people was they strangled people. That was their preferred way of killing people. Some of them in their handkerchief, what they would strangle people with, they'll put a coin in there so that it rubs on the throat as they strangle you. Then the British Empire, they ended up putting them to death because obviously they were becoming a big a problem at that time, and then they died, and there was a nuisance. So they would kill people that had caravans of goods. They would rob them, and they would strangle them to death. So absolutely, even that too, man. All right, but let's get some more. So, admirer of Mahatma Gandhi, he shared the Hindu fascination of his contemporaries. Hinduphilia had a general trend in Black America and the Caribbean for some time in 1919 to 1920. So in the 1920s, Hinduism in the West Indies influenced the Caribbean a lot, man. That's why Rasta say Jah Rastafari when Indians would say Jah Akali, because that was the god that they served. You know what I mean? So in the 1920s, Hinduism was a big influence in the West Indies, and Leonard Howell for Rastafarianism took a piece of that, which is what a lot of Rastas and black people ignore. We think Rasta is a black cultural thing. It's all about blackness. When it's not, it's Indian. The influences taken are of Indian influence, Hinduism to be exact. We've got Sapaya, Shalom, sir, Lord and Christ. All right. So, meanwhile, in Jamaica, Howell absorbed teachings from the Indians. There you go. The founder of Rastafarianism absorbed teachings from Indians, man. The ganja, the locks, the jar, the banging of the drums, the bong, those things come from Indians. It's got nothing to do with us. There were many in St. Thomas, and some reportedly came to him for healing. So, meaning Leonard Howell was so engrafted into Indian influence, they even came to him for healing, like how Indians go to a gang who is like a knowledgeable man. They even came to him like how Indians went to a witch doctor. So they came to him for healing. A big man called Lalu became his bodyguard and is said to have been responsible for the Hindi Urdu part of Howell's prayers. So, meaning this big Indian called Lalu, whenever Leonard Howard would pray for someone, he even prayed over them in Hindi Urdu, man. That's how engrafted the founder of Rastafarianism was into Indian culture, man. Let's get some more. The Mansingh studies have enumerated Howell's innumerable borrowings from the Indians. His name, Gung Gun a Guru Mirage, from Gun, a knowledge, a guna, virtue, guru, a teacher, and Maharaj, king. So meaning Leonard Howell even took on an Indian name called Gunguru, which meant the wise, knowledgeable, a teacher. This Rasta, the founder of Rastafarianism, even had an Indian name, man. That's why on many Rastas you got, what's one like Gong Records, Big Gong. Gong is an Indian Hindu word for tough Gong Thwada, which means knowledge. So you know what I mean? He took on the name of an Indian man, Gong Gunguru, man.
Bob Marley's son take on the junior gong.
There you go, Thwada as well, and Caravan. Bob Marley's son took on Junior Gong, man. Gong is a Hindi word, man. Gong, you know what I mean? That's a word from India. Got nothing to do with black people, man. And let's get some more. His prayers, use of Hindi words, his concept of a God king, the sacramental use of ganja, meditation, vegetarian cooking, and spices, even the holy salutation, Jah Rastafari. So listen, it took order of Indians. An Indian would say Jah Kali or whatever Indian god they served. He took it and put Jah Rastafari there, man. That comes from Indians, man. That comes from Hinduism. What to say? The use of ganja, meditation. You know enough, master. You know how the Rastaman are. I'm holding the meds, man. That comes from Indians, man. What's the other one? The vegetarian cooking. The vegetarian, what do you call it? Idol. Listen, man. Even the whole concept of idol comes from Hinduism. Hindus are only vegetarians. You know what I mean? They eat the food without meat, man. Even a Rasta man's diet is from India. It's got nothing to do with black people, man. And this man was so inspired by Indians. He just took their culture and he tried to put an Ethiopian's face on it and told us this is what black people should follow. And it was nonsense. All right, let's get some more. One can hear loud chants. Jah Bhagwan, Jah Rama, Jah Krishna, Jah Kali. So that's what Indians said. So Leonard Howell was around Indians, and that's what they would say. But then when he believed that Selassie was Christ, all he did, he changed it and just put Jah Rastafari there, man. That's all he did. There was nothing deep about it. It's a man that stole Indian influence and just put Jah Rastafari on it instead, man. As any private or community Hindu puja or prayer meeting, as Rastafari gained the status of African Lord in the 1940s, phonetic usage of the word Jah was continued, but Rama, Krishna, and Kali were replaced by Rastafari. There, so from the Indians, like, well, We don't believe their gods, but we believe Selassie is. And all he did was change it to Rastafari. Searching the Old Testament, the Rastas found the word Jah, which is phonetically similar to the Hindu word Jah. So, okay, they're like, well, Jah in the Bible, Hindus say Jah, and they thought it meant the same thing. Let's get some more. Joseph Hibbert, Howell's companion in St. Thomas, confirmed to Mansingh that after learning about the Hindu god incarnates, Rama, Krishna, and Buddha, Howell was convinced that every nation had its own god. Jesus for the whites, Rama, Krishna, and Buddha for the Indians, and someone in Africa about whom he did not know for the Africans. When Rastafari was crowned, Hibbert told Mansingh, Africans realized that his title given to him by the whole world makes him a god, just like Ashoka, Buddha, Rama, and Krishna. So just because this Ethiopian got crowned a king, they thought that's our god. Everyone has their god. This black man is a king. When I say black man, I'm speaking in complexion, right? But this Ethiopian's a king. This is our god. That was the simplicity that they had back then. That anyone who was dark skinned or from Africa that became a king, listen, that person is God, man. You know what I mean? That's how oppressed we was in the West Indies. That anyone who became a king, that person's God, man. After slavery, listen, there's an African man on a throne. That's the second coming of Christ. That's how oppressed we was as a people. Like, I got a question online. Okay, so you're asking me, Slaki, I don't want it for me. What does Rastafari mean? Okay, 1 second.
I've got it, sir.
Huh?
I've got it in front of me here already.
Really? Okay. Ain't no sweat. Okay. Okay, so now the word Ras, if I'm correct, in Ethiopian language, it's a king, like an emperor, like Ras.
Khan, sir. It says Ras means prince.
Yes, like it just skipped my mind, you know what I mean? But yeah, Ras in Amharic, which is the language of Ethiopians, just means a king, or it can mean a prince. So his name is Tafari, and Ras just meant he was a king in his case, or it could have been a prince. You know what I mean? So that's the breakdown of Rastafari. All right. All right, so let's get some more. After the coronation of Rastafari, Africans had a god king and a promised land. But when would they be allowed to go there? How transformed Christ's verse, my kingdom is not of this world, into a more practical, my kingdom is not of this time. Things do change, and Selassie's coronation would be the dawn of a new age. Like the Indians, Ethiopians now had a king of their race to whom they could look for salvation and a place in the world. Jah Rastafari. Now, even in what he said, there's a flaw. He said Ethiopians have a king, man, for their salvation. We're not Ethiopian. So what does that mean for us? Listen, be happy for Ethiopians that had a king that looked out for them, loved them. That is wonderful for Ethiopians. But Selassie did not come for us, man. Selassie did not bring salvation to the slaves of the islands, man. although we looked up to him like he was the second coming of Christ. Right, so I'm gonna skip to Bob Marley now. Now, here's something a lot of people don't know about Bob Marley. Where am I? Let's get page 101. All right, so we're gonna get page 288. If you could, if you give me Matthew 18 and 11.
No one can. The book of Matthew 18, verse 11. For the Son of Man is come to save that which was lost.
And listen, man, you know what I mean? This verse is heavy. You know, when you think about us as a nation, we are lost, man. And listen, that's why you shouldn't look to Selassie. You should look to Jesus Christ, man. You should look to Yahweh. Why? Because Jesus Christ came to save that which was lost, man. We are lost as a people. You know, there's a song by the Mighty Diamonds, man. The song's called Identity. Anyone ever heard it?
Who sing that?
A group called the Mighty Diamonds.
Oh, yeah, I heard it, yeah.
And listen, man, that song, now, listen, I can't sing, but listen, man, you know what I mean? You listen to those lyrics, it's deep, like, where did we lose our identity, man? And even in the song, it's like, we're sheep that have gone astray. Like, it's not rocket science that, you know, the chosen people of God have lost their way. We've lost our identity. And even a Rasta group, by the way, even they knew we are a lost people, man. We are a lost people where, you know what I mean, somewhere we lost our identity, man. And they sung about it. It's a song, man. You know what I mean? I would recommend you go and listen to that song, hear the lyrics, and go listen. When the Bible talks about the lost sheep of the house of Israel, that must be us. Because damn, nobody's searching for who they are like how we are, man. No one's trying to find themselves like how we are, which means in the Bible, that lost sheep could only be us because we're the only people doing it, man. Read on in Matthew 18.
Come on. Verse 12. How think ye, if a man have 100 sheep, and one of them be gone astray, doeth he not leave the 99 and go it into the mountains and seek that which is gone astray?
And listen, man, Christ came to save that which was lost. And he loves blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians so much. Even if he had 99 sheep, if one is lost, he's going to find it, man. Christ doesn't want us lost, man. Christ doesn't want us believing Selassie is his second coming, man. Christ doesn't want us in the church. Christ doesn't want us in the mosque, man. Christ wants all of his sheep. Why? Because he's the shepherd, man. Let me get another one for you real quick. Bear with me. All right, let's get Ezekiel 34 and 11.
Another one cancer. Book of Ezekiel, chapter 34, verse 11. For thus saith the Lord God, behold, even I will both search my sheep and seek them out.
So now this is the Lord talking, and the Lord saying he's going to find his sheep and search him out. Why? Because we're lost. So the Lord has to send men to do it. Why? Because we are lost as a people, man. When you can see an Ethiopian man sit on a throne and go, that's Christ, we should follow him, Jah Rastafari. We are lost, man. We need some help. You know what I mean? There's nothing great about this, man? Do you want to know a fact? All over the earth, there's kings and queens. Just that the Queen of England or the King of England now, they're more famous. But all over the earth, there are royal families. Even in Ghana, the Ashanti tribe have royalty. They have kings and queens. Even in France, they're not a popular royal family, but in France, they have a royal family. Do you know a fact? World War One began because someone assassinated the king of France. So meaning France had a royal family, and someone assassinated him. His name was King Fahd, and that started World War One. Meaning France had a royal family. Even in Greece, Queen Elizabeth, her husband was of the royal family of Greece, and she married him. He came over to England. All over the earth, people have kings. So Selassie being called a king is not a big deal. All over the earth, people have royal families. It wasn't that deep. But again, us being slaves, seeing someone who was not white because the king was like, whoa, nah, man, this man's Christ. You know what I mean? It blew our mind. When kings and queens and royal families is not a big deal. They're all over the earth. In Russia, there is a royal family. They're not famous. People don't care about them. But Russia does have a royal family. In Greece, they have a royal family, but it's not as popular as over here. But and in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands, there is a royal family, but they're not popular. People don't really care about them, like in England. But many places have royalty. It's not a big deal. It reads on in Ezekiel.
Canada one concern, verse 12. As a shepherd seeketh out his flock in the day that he is among his sheep that are scattered, so will I seek out my sheep, and will deliver them out of all places where they have been scattered in the cloudy and dark day.
And there you go, man. The Most High is saying, where we are scattered, He's going to deliver us, man. Meaning, the Bible's telling you, the chosen, the chosen people of the Lord, they're going to be scattered everywhere, man. They're going to be in the church. They're going to be in the mosque. They're going to believe Selassie is Christ. You know what I mean? The real chosen people of God are going to be sheep just everywhere. And a shepherd is going to have to come and round us up and bring us back, man. Let's get Matthew 9 and 36 and show you that it's nothing new. Even when Christ was on the earth.
Karawan Khan, Matthew 9 verse 36.
God,
But when he saw the multitude, he was moved with compassion on them, because they fainted and were scattered abroad as sheep having no shepherd.
there you go. So even when Christ was on the earth, he saw our people. He saw blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians, and looked at us and goes, these people are sheep that have no shepherd. Meaning Christ saw it with his eyes. Christ looked at us even in his time and goes, damn, we need to be led, man. So we are a people for so many years, we've gone astray, man. We've been sheep that had no shepherd, just gone far and wide, man. Lost. Now, I'm gonna they should do the last bit of class. So at the same book, the first Rasta, it goes into Bob Marley. And listen, to prove that Rastafarianism is a BS, let's find out the truth about Bob Marley, man. Let's find something out. So okay, now in Bob Marley's time, of course, Rastafarianism was about, but it was the 12 tribe Rastafarianism around Bob Marley's time. All right. So let me skip to it because like 10 minutes. All right. All right, let me get it. Okay. Okay. Mortimer Plano, a sophisticated Rasta strategist, urged Bob Marley to use his authority to unite Rastas. So, meaning, while Bob Marley was alive, Rastas couldn't even get along. The 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 a 12 a tribes one hated the Nyabingi ones, meaning all of them they didn't even like each other. You know what I mean? Some of them that lived by each other burnt down each other's houses. That's a fact. I'm not making it up. You know what I mean? There were certain Rasta communities that lived next to each other and they literally burnt down each other's houses. You know what I mean? They were fighting against each other. You know what I mean? So let's get some more. Bob Marley to use his authority, but several Rastafarian conclaves that Bob Marley sponsored at Tough Gang in the late 1970s didn't lead to the vision he had been imagining. So meaning he couldn't unite them. You mean him being the face of Rastafarianism, he couldn't even unite them in 1979. Sorry, by 1979, the overworked singer was already sick with cancer. In 1980, in a state of collapse and afraid he was about to die, listen to this, Bob Marley was baptized into the Ethiopian Orthodox Church in a New York hotel room. So, meaning, before Bob Marley died, he denounced Rastafarianism. He collapsed, and in a New York hotel room, an Ethiopian Orthodox, a Christian, baptized him. Meaning, he knew Rastafarianism was bullshit, man. If you believe it's true, you die with it, man. Like, I believe what is in a UPK is the truth. I'm gonna die with this. I'm not gonna be on my deathbed and have someone sprinkle some a holy water on me. Meaning, Bob Marley didn't believe that, man. When it came to life and death, Bob Marley, he repented and became an Ethiopian Orthodox Christian, man, in a hotel room. And they baptized him in that hotel room, man. Meaning he knew Selassie could not save him, man. On his deathbed, he knew better, man. All right. Get it? He had been its secret benefactor in Jamaica for years. So meaning behind Rasta's backs, Bob Marley was financing the Ethiopian church, man. He was their benefactor, meaning he helped them. While in Jamaica, Rastas were poor. Even to this day, the Rastafarian communities in Jamaica are poor, man. They're in the mountains. And guess what? He gave his money to the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, man. Meaning Bob Marley didn't believe in it, man. He's the face of Rastafarianism, but he didn't believe in that shit neither, man. Let's get some more. Is it funny? Bob Marley starts playing in the background. I don't know if the man next door is watching class or something. I'm vexing him. Nah. All right. So, where am I? Benefactor. Stir it up, yeah. All right. So, financing the construction of its church on Maxfield Avenue. So, I mean, in Jamaica, in Maxfield Avenue, Bob Marley paid for the Ethiopian Orthodox Church to be built, man, and didn't give Rastas nothing. When he died in 1981, hear this, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church was to preside over his burial in a gorgeous ceremony of Coptic chants in Amharic and Ge'ez. Those are Ethiopian dialects, man. Streaming incense and rows of priests holding beautiful carved silver crosses. So meaning Listen, when Bob Marley died, on the funeral he had, Ethiopians were given the right to bury him, not Rastas. So meaning Bob Marley didn't believe in that. They had the right to bury this man. Watch this now. Marley's old friend and Jamaican soccer star Alan Cole had to shoulder aside an Ethiopian Orthodox Christian priest to get a word in edgewise for the 12 tribes at Marley's stay for a funeral. Meaning, when Bob Marley died, the funeral he had was so Ethiopian Orthodox that a Rasta man, he couldn't even get a word in. One man had to, beg a little space, a Rasta man, just to talk about Rastafarianism, meaning, Bob Marley was not with it. And his funeral clearly showed that he didn't believe in that. That really he was about Ethiopian Orthodox Christianity, man. Now, let me get to 289, just the last section. For Rastas, however, it was a blow. Their ambassador, their prince, had gone to die in the arms of Jesus, man. Meaning that killed him, man. Like, raw. The person we looked up to promote Rastafari, he was a Christian and died in the arms of Jesus. He got baptized in his New York hotel room. He didn't believe in Rastafarianism like how we thought, man. So that put a blow to Rastafarianism. Like, listen, even the face of Rastafarianism didn't really believe in that, man. And that's what Rastas would never want you to know about Bob Marley. They have him on the t-shirts. They play the music, but he didn't really believe in that, man. He believed in Ethiopian Orthodox Christianity, man. 1 second, Ira dropped something as well. So like you said, if I may, so it's safe to say the founder of Rasta just didn't want to follow Christianity. Yeah, you definitely can say that. Of course, you know what I mean? In the early 1900s, you know what I mean? Slavery as we knew it was finished. And of course, you know what I mean? Black people didn't want to follow the white man a Christianity. So he was trying to get influence from anything but European Christianity. You know what I mean? So he was wrong, of course, but don't hate the brother. Don't, you know what I mean, wish nothing evil on him. It was a brother just trying to find a way, you know what I mean? It was wrong, of course. It was not the way. But it was a brother just trying to be free like how we are now, man. You know what I'm saying? So even Rastas, you know what I mean? I don't hate Rastas. I see the man. And guess what? I see that they wanted to fight against that mental slavery of religion. You know what I mean? I see it, but it wasn't right, man. You know what I mean? And that's really what it is, man. You know what I mean? So don't hate them, you know what I mean? They were just rebels, but just fighting the wrong cause, man. You know what I mean? So with that, that's the class. Anyone got anything before we close out?
Sir.
Mausa, you got anything you want to bring out or to what?
No, just look at some. Bob Marley was just a slave master, selfish and greedy, and just like Peter touched on all of them that teach him the music and teach him how to play instrument. He never contributed. He robbed them just the same.
There you go. Yeah, man, it's true, man. Like
slave master robbed the slave. That's the same thing Bob Marley commando, and never give back nothing to where he come from.
Yeah.
The slave Robert.
And there you go. Cause you know what's funny? I always ask, why is the group called the Wailers? It's called the Wailers because of Bunny Wailer. Bunny Wailer. So because I didn't know that. I was like, well, okay, well, why is it called the Wailers? And he robbed Bonnie Whaler's group, man.
Yep.
And do you want to know a fact? Even though Bob Marley is dead, his family made millions. Do you want to know a fact? With a Bonnie Whaler, he died last year with only £10,000 to his name. Imagine that. All the music and singing and all that, and died with only £10,000, man. While as the man that robbed him, you mean he's a millionaire? And of course, he's dead, but his kids, yeah. And believe me, people love his music till this day.
Supposed to have
And his family,
everything.
yeah. And listen, man, you know what I mean? All those other reggae artists, they're poor, man. Listen, man, I've been to Jamaica and I've seen them reggae artists and they're poor. They're in Jamaica's living like everybody else. No wealth, no nothing, man. You know, I went to Jamaica 6 years ago. I saw a Junior Edemus. Junior Edemus was poor, man. I saw for a Redlocks, you know what I mean? And same as well, I was poor, man. Like, raw, like, you mean your music was big in the UK, big in America, and they got nothing?
All
There
they
you go.
get is just what they might get from the stage show that they perform. Otherwise, nothing else. But the managers all rob them because they never seem to venture out in the production part of the music to balance themselves out. They just want the anthem out and the excitement, and after that, that's it.
There you go, man. And it's true. Those reggae artists that, you know what I mean, were out there, listen, they didn't make no money. And Bob Marley made all the money. And he didn't even give it to the Rasta community. He gave it to the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. You mean? And I was going to say something, though. It literally skipped my mind. Yeah, man. Because in the UK, Burning Sir Abia, he was doing a tour. And like, for him to be doing a tour at the age he is, he's got to be poor. Like, at that age, you're touring. Listen, man, finances are hard, man. You know what I mean? You're not touring because you like it. You're touring because you're poor, man. And the ticket prices were ridiculous. Burning Spear, £60 a ticket. Listen, I was going to take my mom. And my mom said, listen, I'm not being funny, you know, like £60 for a Burning Spear. I don't know about that. I was like, yeah, me too, man. It was so lucky. But you know what I mean? I'm not paying that much for Burning Spear. But you know what I mean? It was a lot, man. For Burning Spear. Nah, man, £60 a ticket. So lucky. Yeah, man's like, I don't know about that. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. 1 second. Put it back in. Yeah, man. So you know what I mean? That's it. But someone asked a question. Like, don't want to leave anyone out. All right, from Barak Ya Allah, Shalama Yahweh Shem Shabbat. So the book I'm reading from is called The First Rasta by Helen Lee. So the book is called The First Rasta, Leonard Howell, and the Rise of Rastafarianism. All right. So that's the book there, yeah. All right then. With that, all right, man. We'll see you next week, right? All right, Akim, Shalom, Akim. Yahweh Ba Shem Yahweh Shai Barak Thumb.
Yahweh Shimi
How about you, Barakatah?